We're live. There we go. I like that. You're alive. It's excellent.
Yes, thank you
It's
very much.
it's like a reminder.
Yeah. That
you're
in
alive.
these times of the COVID, you are alive.
You're in fact alive.
Congratulations.
It's Fable Forest Films podcast, First Frames First, episode 82. I am your better golfing host, Jay.
And I am your more handsome gentleman, Adrian.
I mean, debatable.
Hey, I could become better at golf, bro.
Oh, fuck. I just got to practice. What are you going to do? Huh?
Famous Winston Churchill.
So today we're pretty happy. Oh, look, hey, Mandy's joined already. We're pretty happy. We have a special guest star, second week in a row after coming back from our brief hiatus. We originally hated this guy a lot, because
hey, Matt,
because his team was better than us in every way. It felt like at first, right? We competed against each other for the Cineku challenge when we were working on the Postman project. James McDougall, writer, director, actor, is going to be on in a second, and this guy's team. We're going to get into what they were all about and what he did. Maybe we can show something if that's okay with James.
100%.
Hey, Tabby and Matt. Here we go. Showing. Look at we got people coming on already. This is excellent. So without further ado, and maybe we'll give a quick update on some things that are going on in Fable Forest life.
Yep. And just to say, James is jumping from strength to strength to strength.
It's true. What is it?
About that. His acting chops, they are rising up.
Look, soon
we're going to have a short film that has a really, really famous guy in it.
That's true. Here we go. We're gonna kick off the show, and Adrian, at one of these days, you're gonna have to get a streaming service that works. Hey guys, I'm Adrian. And I'm Jay. We run Fable Forest Films.
Right now, we're totally independent.
Well, what's the dream?
Making crazy awesome film and television for the biggest studios.
This podcast is our journey. Oh, welcome, James.
You know, come on, guys. How you doing?
We're doing excellent. Did you notice that your face was in our intro?
I did.
For our podcast? Do we owe you money for that? I think.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to be calling my agent right after this, and we're going to take care of that.
Oh shit! You have an agent.
You know, I introduced Connor to Doug and Bob McKenzie, you know, the great Canadian, the Great White North comedians, and they had this song called Take Off, and they brought Geddy Lee on from Rush, and Geddy Lee sang the comedians' kind of Take Off song, and they're like, hey, yo, hey, how you doing, did our guys talk to your lawyer? And Geddy Lee was like, yeah, $10 is $10, eh? So I don't know. It was a
sorry, Jay, you lost me there.
We lost you.
Those were just I don't know. I don't. That was like a different language to me.
So you want to be a storyteller for a living,
James?
I just don't I'm not making fun. I just don't know those names, and I get it. Yeah, I'm just not sure.
$10 is $10, bro.
$10 is $10, bro. Here we go. Well, all right, I'm gonna pull things up to school you guys later on. But,
you gotta fill me in on what that means.
I'm going to, and we're gonna circle back. I'm gonna tell that joke again, and then it's gonna be hilarious.
All right.
So it's gonna make me happy.
So James, let's talk a little bit about James McDougall and what is. Let's talk about currently. No, currently is the most exciting bit. Let's talk about right at the end. Let's talk about where it all begins for you, sir.
Okay.
What, like acting, film? What's the origin story?
Oh God, we're going right into all that.
Let's go right back and let the people enjoy James McDougall.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks. And first off, thank you so much for the intro. That's very kind. I was blushing, and I got our team was just super intimidated by you guys. Your trailer was like so slick. Like we were like, how the hell are we going to compete with these guys? We had to up our game every week because
it was.
So,
I said a couple weeks ago, like that time was one of the best times of my life. Like it felt like
it was
like
the best and the worst, right? Like,
yeah, it really was. Yeah.
It was really the possibility.
Yeah.
The possibility that you could make a movie for $1 million.
Yeah.
So amazing. Like that's like a dream come true for any filmmaker. So
yeah. And we came so close, and it was it felt so within grasp. And that was such a. But honestly, all the connections that we got to make through all that. This is the Cineku thing that we're talking about here, but that was so cool. Like I still talk to you guys. It's still like I've done. Yeah, I work with Mike Gallant as well, like from the Henchmen and everything. And there's been like it's been a cool little community since then.
That is awesome.
So to take it, I'll give you the brief kind of summary of like my trajectory here. But I born in Oshawa, Ontario, and then my folks moved to Cobourg when I was very young. And very early on, my dad he was getting me on stage because he was like he was a teacher at this high school right down the street from us. So I was like 2-3 years old, and he'd bring me up to like the concerts, and I'd like sing little songs and stuff. And I think that kind of just, got me hooked to performing and, an audience. And I never really looked back since. Like, my folks were super supportive, and they kept like I would do, a lot of community theater. Like usually we had a great Cobourg, Ontario has great community theater like Victoria Hall, and there's the Capitol Theater in Port Hope that we did a lot of theater at, and I just got to play all these awesome roles. And when you're doing theater as a kid, you're working with different age groups, like you got adults and you got elderly people and other kids, and it's just like it's a really cool I lost you guys.
We're just focusing on you.
This is cool. Oh, okay. I see.
We were making you the star there for a minute.
I see. So, okay, I get it. You can switch the camera angles. Very cool. But yeah, so it's like, it was really cool to be a part of that. And I got a lot of experience just, acting and musicals and all that. And then that all led me to my final year of high school. My mom moved off to Ottawa as a jail manager. And she was trying to get me to move with her. She's like, come on, Ottawa. And she did. Honestly, I got to give her a lot of credit to my mom here, because she made it very possible. She went to Canterbury Arts High School, which is an amazing arts high school in Ottawa that usually very rarely let new kids in, in grade 12. Yeah. And she talked to them about getting me an audition there. And I went and auditioned, and I ended up getting in. So I ended up going to Ottawa for a final year of high school at a great arts high school where it was like drama, dance, music, and every single course was like acting or I took media studies and guitar and film studies. That was it. I was like making movies, acting, and all this stuff. And the first day I get to this new school, I'm like a little hippie kid. I got a tie-dye shirt on, like got my guitar, and I sit down at the back of this class. And there's this dude in like a leather jacket, and he's like, "Oh, hey man, what's going on? I'm Derek Barnes. Yeah, good to meet you." And that was where I met Derek, who's as we work together at Mountain Man Media, and and then this guy's living. I just it was his house that we always went to and partied at, and it was it got to really close with him and his parents, and now years later, now we're creating content together. He's a stunt guy out in the industry, and we're just and that really set things off. And there's a few more things I'll fill in to get me here, but I went off to York University for a bit, only for a year though, because it didn't click with me. Theater school was kind of I would recommend it to some people, but for me, I was like, I just want to act, man. And then there was like, and I didn't get to act as much as I'd like. And so I left, went back to Ottawa, did a bunch of indie theater, community theater, which led me out to Victoria, BC, doing theater out there. And then about 7 years ago, made the move to Toronto, where I was like, I did the shift where I basically, instead of doing all theater, I did all TV film, just trying to make my own content, trying to get out there, being everything I possibly could, like student films, whatever I could do, like to beef up that IMDb and that resume, I would do it. And really the key thing is experience. Like the more you guys know, like the more you're on set, you just get used to it and it becomes comfortable,
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
That's basically like the acting journey that led me to Toronto, and then the one other thing I'll mention in Toronto, I ended up getting a great job at Armstrong Acting Studios, which is an awesome on-camera film studio for people like in Toronto area looking, and I worked there as the cam op. So I didn't have a lot of money, but I got kind of paid a tiny bit just to sit behind a camera and film acting.
Wow.
So I filmed like probably close to 3,000 hours of acting classes.
Wow.
And
embedded in your brain.
You kind of got free acting classes.
Totally. Yeah, not only like, I was getting paid. And to do casting sessions. That ended up leading to doing casting sessions with some of the top casting directors in the city.
Very good.
I was filming those sessions too. So getting like the whole 360 kind of look at what acting is, you know, from filmmaking process to acting to being behind in the audition room.
Yeah.
I was like, that was my schooling. That was like, I got a lot from that.
That's
What
awesome.
were some of the, like, did you get a chance to like listen to the casting directors talk when people would leave?
Yes.
So what were some of the, like, so now you're like, I'm an aspiring actor, or you're an actor at that point, you'd done tons of theater and you want to jump into acting. What were some of the things you were paying attention to in the casting room where you're like, oh shit, here's the 5 things I'm not going to ever do when I jump into a casting room or whatever? Like, what were some of the things that they'd be like, oh my God, did you see that guy?
Great. Yeah, that's a great question. I thought that, like, you know, for the most part, the big thing that stood out to me was like how many people don't prepare enough. You know what I mean? Like, you think like in this industry, if you get in that room, especially with like a top tier casting director, you've been chosen over like hundreds, sometimes thousands of submissions, and they crack it down to like 10, right? Or they got like 10. They only have a certain time, so they'll only bring in like, you know, maybe 10 people for a role, maybe less. And
probably everybody that's in the room can do the role.
Yeah.
And they're really looking for that thing.
Something specific.
Yeah. And sometimes you would just see like people, they just, and you know what, you can't blame them, because I've been there too, where you just haven't had the time sometimes. But I think more so it was just like, you know, people just wouldn't necessarily prepare as much as they could. And the people that did really stood out. You know, the people that just kind of did their homework and just, you know, were kind of flowing and like really natural with it, really stood out. And another thing, a takeaway for like you guys and for the for any actors that are watching this, is that I remember one lady came in one time and just nailed the audition. It was for an awesome role in an awesome show. She nailed it, and she left, and the casting director was just kind of like, too bad she looks like the lead. that was it. Like, you know, she didn't get it because you never know. You know, all you can do is go in there and put it all on the floor and just give them your version of what you think the character is, and then just like leave it. Because I literally get into the habit now of literally just taking my script right when I leave, and sometimes it looks kind of assholey. I notice I don't do it when there's a lot of people around now, because I had one guy be like, "What the hell?" Because I just kind of walk out and I just rip up the script and then just toss it in the garbage. I'm like, did my job. You know, we'll see what happens.
Right.
But because sometimes they're looking for something very specific, or a personality trait very specific that is not necessarily in the words of the page. And once they see it in front of them, they're like, this is exactly what we need. And there are so many extenuating factors as to why someone might or might not get a role that is not linked to their acting ability at all. Like, it's not always the best actor that gets the role. Sometimes you can't have two blonde-haired women in the same group. Like,
that's it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't look right in the frame, right? It just doesn't look. That's it.
Yeah. Because I know when we
Look
were
at who it
casting,
is.
Hey, Mr.
Hey, Mike.
Yeah,
we got
hey, Mike.
We also got to say hello to Danny Bailey there, our guest from last week, who laid down some serious technical wizardry on our faces with his camera work.
Oh, right on. Danny Bailey.
Yeah. But just like when we were casting for Shifted, we were looking for different people, and we knew that we couldn't have two people that looked the same. You know what I mean? You're just like, we have this group of people who are going to be acting as a group together through the movie, and everybody has to have their own distinctive look. You can't have a blondie and a blondie You know,
Right.
you can't have two people that look the same because people get them mixed up. And it's just that simple, and they're just that mundane.
It's on. That was the big reveal for me, how mundane it is and how little is in your control once you leave the room.
Yeah,
And
you should totally not take it personally.
Yeah.
If you act your face off, you can still not get a role for sure.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And I saw that happen, you know. And even sometimes it comes down to, you know, is this the kind of person I want to spend, you know, if it's for a series or something, you're like, that person was so good, but this person, I kind of wouldn't mind spending a couple of years with them.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know if it's rude to talk about, but did you guys hear the news about Ruby Rose leaving the role of Batwoman
I did,
on
yeah.
the CW?
I did hear that. Yeah, I don't think it's rude to talk about. Yeah, I heard.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, they parted ways. Oh, look. I mean, Mike says it's time to take pants off. I mean, that already happened.
Yeah,
Unless Mike means himself.
Yeah, might have been off this.
Right.
I'm taking my pants off.
Okay. Hey guys. But yeah, she you know, kind of said that in one of her statements that she didn't enjoy the amount of time she had to be on set. I guess there's like 24 episodes in a season of Batwoman. It just seemed weird to take on a role like that, like Supergirl. You've seen Supergirl on CW. I mean, it's tons of episodes, and it just seems strange to leave a role like Batwoman. I don't know. So they're looking to replace her right now. Yeah.
So are you bringing that up because you think I should put in a bid?
Yeah, 100%. Look at this. How can you be an actor with a beard? This is a good question. Excellent question from Twitch.
I don't usually have a beard. Very good question. That's a great question because a lot of the time they'll ask you to shave it. But because of this whole situation right now with the COVID, I was like, you know what? Now's the time to try something new. And I'm just growing it out while I'm living here, but I'm sure I'll have to shave it at some point. Nevertheless, it's an experiment and it's not going well. Like we've got I don't even have like hair and this side here. It's like
and let me say that there are people who act who have beards.
That is true.
There are people that do that. Ask Michael Wirtz.
I was just gonna say,
a giant beard upon his face. It was yay big.
That takes a different kind of skill set, though. Like you got to be almost an Olympic like type actor to be able to, to do that with facial hair as well.
I probably had to eat steak like every night for like a year and a half just for enough protein to grow all that hair out of his face.
Well, let me tell you how irritated our good friend was when we came back a year later to do some reshoots, and he had to rebuild his excellent beard.
How long did it take him?
And I think we gave him
a month. Took him 4 months.
Took him 4 months to get it back. It was, it was rude, of us.
It's method acting, man.
Mike posts so much on Facebook. I'm trying to scroll to get to his super awesome photo. Here we go.
Jay's going to do some fancy producing here.
Here we go.
The show.
All right, I'm looking forward to it. Are we going to see?
We're going to see a hairy face.
Look at this.
Oh,
look at this guy.
God, yeah. Hell yeah!
Look at that beard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that look like a man that'll crush you with one hand?
It does. And to answer your Twitch, person's question, that is how you act with a beard.
That's correct. It was awesome. Now, how did you end up? I'd love to show. I pulled up the Love at First Stab trailer, but that doesn't really have you in it. But you wrote and directed. But I was thinking about playing.
We tag teamed it. Yeah.
I was thinking about playing your differentiator, if you remember that one. How did you meet James Morley? Did you guys also go to school together, or?
Yes. Oh yeah. Of course, can't leave him out of the story. He was also there's 2 acting classes that got divided at the school, and I just happened to end up in Derek and James's class. And he and I didn't like we didn't talk a lot till after school, and then we ended up just like once I moved back to Toronto, he was living with Derek in the Danforth area,
Right.
where I'm at, and I ended up I think I ended up taking his room because he went on a long trip, and I ended up kind of living in his room for a while, and then we just all, the rest is history. We just all worked like Derek
When he
and I,
came back, you guys spooned.
yeah, we just all spooned for a while, and and then we all just did the Mountain Man Media thing, which another for the filmmaking aspect of like my schooling was really like making stuff with them and the custom demo reels. I don't know if you heard it, like we did a lot of custom demo reels for actors because I knew a lot of actors from Armstrong, and a lot of people just wanted to make content to show off their skills, but then like how long it takes an actor to freaking build up.
Get demo reel.
Yeah, demo. And a lot of the time it's like, would you like a coffee? Would you like a coffee? It's just like the same thing for a long time. So just to get to show your chops as a lead.
Make it.
Yeah. And that brought us to a point where we were all like kind of tag teaming. We took turns directing scenes. We took turns writing scenes in different genres. And we were just shooting on little 5D. Derek loved his multicam. So he and Morley would usually be on the 5Ds, and I'd have sound going. And and it would be a 3-man production team for years.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna show the audience here. When we competed against each other, this was the first time we got to see who you guys were after watching the trailer for the movie. I'm gonna throw it in here.
Awesome.
Here we go.
Here we go. I'm James McDougall, and I'm deeply, deeply disturbed.
Derek Barnes, raging masochist.
James Morley. I like violence.
3 of us are best friends, roommates, and an entire fucking production company by the name of Mountain Man Media.
Between us crazy bastards and a few other talented mofos, we've been shooting short films with psychotic efficiency for years.
So with a decent budget, we know that we're ready to make a kick-ass feature.
What makes Love at First Half different than all the other horrific romantic comedies about serial killers is that
There aren't any. This movie has such a unique blend of fucked up humor, hilarious murders, and a surprisingly engaging emotional storyline.
But it will simultaneously warm your heart and churn your stomach in such a way that you have not experienced since the German snuff porn remake of Toy Story 3.
Oh, I love that.
I see why that pulled it up for everybody.
That's cool.
It took me a while, but I think
what came after you? What came after Cineku for you? Like were you working in TV at that point? Because I remember people hopefully our audience has seen your face from our short film My Huntsville Muse, and we can talk about that quickly.
Go watch it. Yeah,
but when we brought you in to play the lead in Huntsville Muse, you were already acting in like with Condor, is that right?
Yeah,
and a bunch of other like TV spots, if I recall correctly. Can you kind of tell when did that all kind of start to happen, where you started to take on those like roles?
It was a slow build. I was with the one agency for a while, and they were great, with lovely humans, nothing but good vibes with them. And we were, they really helped me like through the non-union process of like I was doing a lot of indie features and indie shorts and commercials, and just getting comfortable on bigger sets, with bigger people. And then when it came time to kind of go union, I just had a bit of a thing where we were kind of like at odds with, they were thinking maybe I shouldn't go, union, and I kind of want to go union, and I was like, I feel like it's time for me now, and I ended up kind of going union, and everything just kind of halted to a stop for a while, because it's just another build, you kind of start. The non-union crowd is I don't know about like how many people are in each, but it's just it's a lot more competition, I think, once you go, union, and they're paying a lot more. So they do a lot more vetting and everything. So I ended up like, but it was so amazing getting to do, like, I wouldn't want it any other way, doing all those non-union things and really sinking my teeth into these roles. One was Personal Space, which was like a weird indie mumblecore thing, which we basically improv the whole thing with like really raw kind of scenes, and it was just like, it was a great way for me to get comfortable on camera, because there will never be a premiere that I am more horrified that like I had all my family and friends sitting behind me, and I'm the lead in this feature where I'm like doing all these new, there's like, I think like 3 sex scenes in it, and it's very raw, but it's not gratuitous. It's just like real people, just kind of deep. But I was like, that was like the scariest that I've ever been at a premiere. I think I don't know if there's anything I could do that would top like my extreme anxiety that night. But just getting to go through the rank and then going union was tricky at first, but then I think it was around I ended up kind of reaching out to some agent, and once it was an agent that I work with who was working. She was a casting director assistant for a while, and then I reached out. I did a play. I reached out to the Characters Talent Agency, which is one of the top tier talent agencies in Canada, and this lady who came to see it. She kind of said, I reached out to her because she saw it and really liked it. And then she was like, I'm not adding to my roster, but this other woman, Karen, is actually Karen Williams Possible, who's my agent now. She's like, she's just building a roster now, and she's just starting from. I'm like, Karen, I know, like I love work, like I love working behind the scenes with Karen, and I was like kind of ecstatic. I was like, oh, this could be a really good partnership, So I sent her my package, and then she took me on pretty quick. And then it took a couple months, but then then I remember my first booking with her was Handmaid's Tale. I got like an actor role on Handmaid's Tale. Excellent. And that was a great kind of start. And then it was a couple actor roles like on Anne with an E, and then Condor hit, which was a principal role on a pretty big series. And I got like some fun stuff. There was a bunch of scenes we filmed that didn't make it, but it was still cool to like be in a scene with William Hurt and like just kind of get to see how he acts and how he works. And I got a cool death. You even see it, they put in the trailer where I get like shot in the head. And, and it was, that was kind of my, first kind of bigger role on a series. And I got to tell you, the union thing is freaking awesome in that respect. Cause I remember there was one day where we ended up filming a tiny scene from episode 2, the same day that we were filming episode 1. And the union makes it so that you end up getting like you get like paid for essentially like the 2 days, like it's almost like you're shooting 2 days in one, because there's just some sort of weird thing where I think it's just to protect union members from shooting all their scenes in every episode in one day or something like that. So that was just a new world for me. I was like, oh, this is neat. I was like, this is really cool. What how they take care of you, and I started really appreciate having like them having my back, and I bought this bed here, and it was like
I bought my first boat.
Yeah.
I think it wasn't that far, but it was really,
fair enough.
It was really cool, and I think I worked it was only like 4 days on that. At the same time, I was like producing some indie things, like an indie feature called Language that was like I don't know if you guys heard about this. It was a multilingual King Lear. We had 11 actors speaking all 11 different languages. It was insane. Elizabeth Lizebnik was the director. She brought me on to produce you. And so that was just a busy time where I was like, slowly getting those union gigs, but then also keep honing the craft and getting to know people. And, long story short, I think it's a mix of like, you got to have a good agent that gets you in the room. And that's been helped, I love Karen because she's been getting me in there and like getting me these chances, and it's amazing. And then you also like the relationships that you build, because just from producing that film with Elizabeth, like it was a couple years ago or like 3 years ago or something, like it was like 2 years later, she messages me. She's like, there's this role in this film I'm directing right now in Vancouver, and you're perfect for it. Please put a tape down. So I remember I sent out a tape to her, and I ended up booking this role. I went out to Vancouver for a month,
right?
In this film
a lot of it's people that you've met and people that because people want to have a positive work experience.
Yes.
So if she knows she's going to have a good time with you and you're going to pull it off, she wants you there instead of somebody that might, be a misfire.
Totally. Yeah. The certainty is so key, right? You kind of understand why you get those people that work to, you see all that, like the directors working with the same actors and everything.
Yeah.
You just feel comfortable and you can trust each other. And it can be really intense in the creative process. When the days are long and the time's running out. So if you got somebody who will kind of have your back, it makes a difference. So did I answer your question? What was the exact, was it essentially?
I was just asking. Yeah, you did. Yeah, I was asking just what types of roles you were kind of taking on. Afterwards. You were kind of talking about throwing a tape down for going out to BC. If you talk to like new actors that are trying to take on roles or trying to pitch to an agent or what have you, do you have some tips for doing their own self tapes and whatnot for delivery?
Yeah.
Like, what do you like to do
for self tapes?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, like, self tapes are an interesting one. I like self tapes myself because you have so much more control. Like if you go in the room, you know what I mean? Like if you go in the room, you got maybe like 3 shots at it, and if you take more than 3 takes, they're gonna be a bit iffy with you. Like they'll be like, don't know if we can trust this kind of huge set when all the pressure's on. So not to say that they don't get more takes than that sometimes, but I think you got that pressure of like you got to get it right pretty quick. But self tapes, you can be like, I've spent a day sometimes just like trying to get it right, and you have a lot more control over it. So yeah, just make sure it's lit well. Sound is important. But then again, at the same time, like I book stuff just off doing iPhone editions too. Sometimes I'll just take my iPhone. I've got this ring light here that I'm kind of using to light myself right now. But and then you just kind of can actually, it's perfect. I can give a demo. You put
Adrian, this guy's a pro. Look at this.
You put your little iPhone right there, and it'd be good if you had like an extra mic or something as well, kind of hooked into it. But overall, it's that gets the job done. You make sure that you're well lit, you look okay, you got a nice backdrop. You don't necessarily need to pay for a big backdrop. It just make it kind of generic, and you don't want a lot going on. You don't want like your kids running around the back or anything like that, but you just just make sure that you lit well, you sound good. It really, all they want to see is your version of the role. And I will say there's been a couple of times where I got creative with it. Like very rarely do I ever edit, because I can edit and everything. You can't really edit your auditions. They just want to see it in one take. But sometimes they'll say like, hey, can you be a little creative with this, because it's a weird scene, and the way it's maybe there's not a lot of dialogue and it's all action, so they just kind of say be creative with it. And then when that happens, I get pretty excited because I kind of get to put on my filmmaker hat a bit and come up with something fun to do. And I don't want to. There was one I recently did for some ghost story where I filmed it in this empty room, and I did a cut where as the ghost, he's supposed to kind of burst out and like start yelling, just like intense laughing and like just shrieking at somebody. So I kind of like hide behind this little wall, and then right when I hide behind the wall, I cut the camera, and then I just kept it framed, and then I made it so it was like a jump cut where I just burst through the door like right away. And I remember when my agent watched it, Karen was like, "Oh my god, that scared the shit out of me." I was like, "Good, all right, job done."
Yeah,
and, you can kind of have fun with that. Derek did a great one. Have you seen the movie Code 8? Have you heard of that? It's on. I think you can see it on iTunes in a couple. But Derek Barnes, when he had to do his audition for that, him and Morley went outside. I think we were all living together at that moment, and they actually filmed the drone. The whole thing was he's being chased by this drone because he's about to be arrested, and they filmed the whole scene like it was freaking cinematic, where the drone's like coming after him, and he's like, and he even said the producers came up to him and said, "Yeah, we had to get you after that tape. That was awesome," So, and
cool.
Like Elijah Wood for Lord of the Rings, he did a kind of creative self tape where he dressed up like a hobbit and like went out in the woods and everything. So sometimes it works if you kind of show them a bit of extra, but for the most part, I would recommend just kind of going with a normal self-tape, because you don't want to weird them out, and you definitely just need to, you don't want to feel like, you're coming on too strong sometimes, and you just want to just show them, yeah, you can do the role. But every now and then, if the mood strikes me, I'll get a bit creative with it.
Yeah, especially if you're doing a lot. Like if you have a lot of auditions that are coming through the doors, you got a lot coming in, you got a lot going out. Then sometimes you can get creative. Come on, let's have a bit of
Hey
fun.
there, Dwayne.
Yeah, have fun with it. Who's this? What'd they say? I missed that. Hey guys, talk later.
That's Dwayne
Oh.
Frey. And he's been good friends for a long time, and they also were. We entered the first Cineku contest with them.
Nice.
In fact, I think they might have even been in the one that we did too. I think Scum City, if I remember correctly.
Was that your first Cineku, Scum City?
That was theirs. No,
Okay.
that was the one that was in the same one that we were. The original Cineku, they did a horror called Horror in the Woods called 50 Road.
Okay,
Was
cool.
the name of their short. Whoa, that was loud. Sorry, guys.
Oh, good.
So what were you working on when we reached out to talk about My Huntsville Muse? Do you remember?
You know, I'll jog my memory with Instagram. That's always a good way to kind of just scroll through your
Amazing.
past and be like, what the hell?
Because we sat down to talk to you about that, and you were like, hey, I also have an awesome actress that I'd love to work with.
Yes.
And you brought in Alana as well.
Yeah, I thought she'd be perfect for it because we worked together on a little short, Pyramid Scream, a long time ago, and she just has this kind of like quality of like that timeless kind of quality where you're not quite sure what generation she's from, which I think was really cool. I got a lot of response from that, people saying that was really moving and a really, really beautiful short. So well done on that, guys, because I think it's really nice. I especially love the ending too. Like, no spoilers. You got to go watch it. I'm not gonna
That's right. It's free. It's on YouTube. Just go watch it.
It's totally free. You go.
And
check
listen,
this out.
we charge for everything whenever we can, but this is
free.
Go to our website.
Yeah,
go to our website. You're gonna see a pop-up of James's face when you land on our website. It's like,
that's right,
James McDougall.
And it's only like 5 minutes, right? It's only like 5 minutes.
That's
so
right.
You can't go wrong. But no, I'm looking at the time that we did My Huntsville Muse. I was working on essentially recommended Alana to kind of be a part of it because I thought she was great, and I'm glad you guys kind of saw the same thing.
Amazing.
And she was awesome to work with too. Super talented.
She's amazing.
Yeah, great human.
100%.
And at the same time, I was at that point. I think we were in the midst of walking supply things, like getting that launched off the ground.
That's right. You were doing walking supply.
Yes, which has not happened yet. Things have, as you guys know, with filmmaking, like you can never really know. Like we were very close, at a point to kind of go on a camera and whatever. Things fell through, and we ended up kind of changing who we were working with on it. And now we're working with another awesome team. I don't know how much I can say now on that, so I'll kind of leave it a bit ambiguous. But we're working with other people, and we're taking the right steps right now during all this time that we have to kind of just get things lined up, because I think it's going to be, when things do go back to a bit, bit more normal, and like we end up kind of bringing productions back.
Mm-hmm.
I think it could be a really good production to kind of get started on pretty quick, because it's mostly in the woods, right? Mostly in the woods.
Yes, exactly. 100%. Did Walking Supply, the short film, go? Is it available for people to see?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
You know why? We ended up deciding not to share it because we were like, I love it. I'm really proud of it. And, obviously there's things we do differently. Like you look back on it every time and you're like, oh, I wish I did this, wish I did that. But overall, I'm pretty proud of it. We shot it over 2 seasons, in the freaking wilderness in the cold. Me and a couple of the actors, like we lost weight, in between. Like we were trying to like really look like we were starving. And like,
I mean, that kind of worked.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. Yeah. And we ended up not sharing it because the feature was getting pretty close, and we had so many new ideas, and it's very, very similar kind of in the story structure. It would, it's still got like a lot of new stuff that will surprise you guys, but I just didn't want to, we didn't want to
you don't want to give it away. Yeah.
It's been a great pitch material though. Like anybody, we just kind of set it off, and we cut our own little like sizzle trailer, of it.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it a lot.
Cool.
I thought
Yeah,
you guys had some drone shots that I was like, oh, that was awesome. There was some cool stuff in there.
I'll tell you
For
a funny
sure.
story about that, about Derek and his drone. But yeah, what were you gonna say, Adrian? Just you.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think I've only seen the trailer, but it just seems to me like rock solid. Like, it just seems like it's a movie that could go.
Thank you.
Because it just seems like it should be made for sure.
I'm hoping.
Yeah.
I hopefully maybe I'll be able to send you guys a link. I'll talk to the guys. And I just don't want to post it public, right now, just because of that. But
and you can't really, because the thing is that if you post it public and you go to someone, then you want them to give you some dollar bills, and then they say, oh, but the short film is out. Like, that impact, the impact with the fresh release. I don't know. I think it's important if it's possibility for a feature, then you want to rein that story in for sure.
I think so, yeah. And not having the two things, it can get confusing for people, because if they're going to search for it and they see it's like, what? Well, that's not what I thought, And we've made enough changes to it that it's not quite the same, but it's it's going to be crazy, man. It's like, I'm so excited about the action and just how insane it's going to be. But I'll tell you a quick little anecdote there about Derek, because he was on the first day of filming with the drone. We were like, it was his first time ever. He just got this new drone. All the toys. He just upgraded the Mountain Man kit at that point, and it was weird. It was almost like him playing with all his new toys for the first time. And really,
this is the best. This is the best.
Did you hear this?
No.
Like, just trying to figure out like how to just how to work everything, and that added a bit of time, just because like we got this new crane that we had to build, and it's like, what the hell, like like, how does this work, and like just kind of figuring out all the pieces. But the drone thing, we ended up getting into the woods. So the first shot, he did a great safety chat, like just kind of getting everybody, okay, you know what to do. If anything goes wrong, I'm just going to yell duck, and you guys just get down, right? Because we're walking through all this really thick bush.
You did tell me this story.
Kind of like flying over our head, and and we got all set up right after the safety chat. Everyone's like, okay, here we go, first take, and we're just kind of starting walking through the bush, and we just hear Jock, and we just like literally, I just felt like it just whizzed right by my head. It was kind of freaky, but luckily the safety was in place to get us down, because it was close. It was a close call, and what happened was the sensors were kind of thinking, because it was kind of marshy. It thought that it was like kind of higher than whatever the sensor it off, and but he figured out how to use that thing pretty quick. And
listen, everyone, have a safe word.
You gotta have a safe word in everything you do.
In life. But I'll tell you, duck is a pretty good safe word, because it's pretty short. You don't want to change it to something longer.
That's my safe word. That's my safe word in the bedroom also. Duck is my bedroom safe word.
Yeah,
100%.
That's awesome.
Let's get to. Do you want to talk? Do you have anything? We want to talk about your most recent role, which it seems super cool. Is there anything that you want to like chit chat about before then?
I mean, I just want to know how you guys how are you guys holding up? You doing all right?
We are. It's an interesting time. It's an interesting time for us. I think like we're stuck indoors, but we're in post-production on a movie. Yes. On our Horror Shifted. We're releasing our second season of Art of Eight Limbs, our Muay Thai documentary on Bell, which should be out imminently, any week now. So that's pretty cool. And I don't know. Do you feel like it's time to share cool news, or?
Yeah, sure.
You think so?
Go for it.
Go for it, Adrian. It's very exciting for us.
Awesome.
Yeah. So Art of Eight Limbs, the 2 documentary series that we have got picked up for international distribution by Principal Media out of Los Angeles.
Oh yeah.
We're pretty excited about that. It was.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll do some sort of official announcement, but it's fun to drop some announcements here for our like couple of audience members.
3 people.
Yeah.
But so it's pretty exciting, and we don't know what lies ahead. But we are excited. So we're just getting them all the deliverables and grinding hard to get everything to them. have to ship a 10 terabyte hard drive across to LA. Like the number of things you need on this hard drive blew my mind. Like you need the ProRes version with all the text embedded in 4K. Then you need the HD version, text version with everything embedded. Now this is ProRes 422 HQ, which is like huge files. Like 20 minutes is like 120 gigs. You know what I mean? Then you need to have the textless version without text, so a full export of that. Then you have the textless version of the HD, full export of that. Like there's so much
different audio tracks embedded in the thing.
10 different types of audio tracks. You have to do like music and effects, just music, but music with no automation. Like then you've got to do dialogue, then you've got to do a full stereo mix, then you do a 5.1 mix with just music, just dialogue, just all these different 5.1 mixes. It's crazy.
And that's just so it can internationally kind of be seen.
Yeah. And the reason you do it is because, and this has been a really cool experience because, I think that we had we've had a couple phone calls with these guys, and I'll just say it was the phone calls were very fun for us because number one, they somehow found our show and reached out to us, which was pretty cool. So it feels good to see that someone found a quality show and then reached out and said like, hey, we'd like to represent you guys and see what we can do with the show. And when the folks were talking to Adrian and I about the show, they really liked the kind of storytelling we were doing and the kind of film mechanics we put into the show. And so you could really tell that these guys A, knew what they were talking about, and B, were really like pushing our buttons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they were like, the way that you did the slow-mo, zooming to the, however they described it. I don't even know how to describe it. So
that's cool.
The fact that the other gentleman was describing our show better than I could just makes me feel amazing, right?
He's a salesman.
He's a salesman for sure.
But it's so every 4K export that they get or deliverable that they get has to be accompanied with an HD one, and the text
you're cutting out there, Chief.
They need to be able to replace all the text from the credits to the titles. Sorry. They need to be able to replace the text for all the titles, all the closed captions, all the open captions, all the credits, everything. So they need a version that has none of that in it.
In case they need to go to a different language or whatever. Yeah. And then they need all the different versions in case they need to change the format to match a station that we didn't provide them the export for or whatever. So, we have the opportunity to do a lot of the work, but if we're in the middle of a shoot and they need whatever it is, an export for the UK or something like that, and it's different, they can take our 10 terabyte drive of all the big exports, and they can recut the types of things that they need to be able to put the show on a different station, or et cetera, et cetera. So it's pretty exciting. We will see what happens. We're pretty happy about it.
How long does that process? Like how many days or weeks?
Still
ongoing. We will. One of these days we'll let you know.
Yeah.
But
well, that's amazing news. Congrats. That's
Thank you.
Well deserved. I know you guys work really hard and you deserve all the success. So that's amazing.
We don't even want all the success. We just
want like a piece of success. We'll just if there's a piece of success out there.
No. We want a lot, but come on. We start with a little.
All right, that's cool.
We got to start somewhere.
You got that. It sounds like you got that. So now only up from here.
Hope so. So let's talk about your new movie, Becky, which is coming out on VOD June the 5th. Now, do you know where it's going to be available, first of all?
Okay. Hold
on, everyone. There's a song about it. And
I got to figure. So, essentially, it's coming out, I think, North America release. It was initially, I don't know if you know, we got into Tribeca. It was going to world premiere, Tribeca Film Festival. We were all like over the moon.
Shit out of here.
No, yeah. That's
it's because No, I won't joke about your movie. It's fine.
And it was like we were like, I think initially, the directors, you guys love those guys, Carrie and John, lovely humans. They and just awesome to work with. I think they had their sights set on some big festivals. They like Tribeca was the one that we got the world premiere at. We were all getting ready to kind of go down there. I remember right as like kind of COVID was kind of starting to really get serious. I went to my ADR session. It's probably like to see, do a couple of scenes and get some final sound and everything. Mm-hmm. And I remember we were kind of like, I feel like, we don't know if it's going to happen. It might, but then a couple days later, it was pretty clear, like this is probably going to get canceled. And then they ended up kind of postponing it, which I was kind of happy about. Oh, they're just postponing it. But things obviously, as we know, kind of ended up going a lot longer, and they ended up kind of canceling it, which is, totally understandable, especially being in New York, So they, and then I found out that it was supposed to go to movie theaters as well. So I was like,
get that shit out of here! Come on.
I'm like, that's huge, but I didn't really feel the loss of that because I didn't even know until until it didn't happen. So it's fine. Right. But the interesting thing though about this, and I was kind of hoping that they were going to kind of get it out early online, because I'm like, right now is a great it's terrible what's happening out there, but it's not a bad time to be releasing content because everybody's at home, and like they want to just see things, and they're running out of. There we go. And they're running out of content to watch. And I was like, okay, like if we can get it out. So yeah, when I heard the news that they were going to kind of put it out so it's coming on VOD and so on demand and digital. So, people will be able to buy it, like, rent it, all that stuff in North America. I'm assuming iTunes, I don't quote me on this stuff because I don't know all the details about exactly where, but I'm assuming you can get it on all the regular VOD, rental things. And also, the news that I found out, like, and I can talk about now because I was reading articles, that are mentioning this. This is like the coolest thing for me, and it like made my day when I found this out yesterday. It's also going to be released in drive-in theaters across in America.
Oh, cool!
Yeah, amazing.
That is awesome.
Did you guys I remember the drive-in as a kid. It was huge. And you always had the rated R movie at the very end where it was like, either some families would go home or like they'd let, you get the blankets out and I just remember that was such an important, like, amazing time in my childhood when we'd all go to the drive-in that just gave me, and it's a perfect drive-in film. It's, it takes place in a cottage. It's like an action thriller that, just. And
like I would, yeah. I think the drive-in is a magical place, and if this is a perfect drive-in movie, I mean, this is great. The drive-in should be brought back, and if Becky is the movie to do that, come on now, James, come on,
let's bring it on. And I don't know if you guys have been reading some of the film news, but there are some movies that are killing it at the drive-in right now because
get out of here.
Yeah. I look up. I think it's called The Wretched, and that was one that played at. I think it played at the Toronto After Dark Festival or one of our festivals in Toronto, and it's killing it. Like I don't know exactly the amount it's making, but it's doing really well. And I think that's going to be the place that people are going to gravitate to. People that miss theaters, that don't necessarily want to get into big crowds right away. Mm-hmm. They're going to be like itching to get out there. And I think the drive-in's a good spot to kind of do that. And
maybe the drive-ins will loosen their rules on like you can't bring in your own snacks and stuff. So they'll be like, look, just bring your own stuff. Come on in. You don't have, or you can kind of social distance, I suppose, if you're going in the thing to get your popcorn and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to do something like that. That's always been tricky to me. How do you stop people from bringing in snacks in their car? I mean, do they have? Can they ever do that?
Slash beers,
whatever. But I feel like, I think they'll probably have to change some of their operating procedures. But I think that's a good spot to look for. At least a little bit of the future as to where people will still go and see things on a big screen.
So where did Becky start for you?
Okay,
like how did you get involved?
Well, it all started with an audition. Obviously, we can do, once it comes out, we should do another podcast where I can really go into some fun stuff, because there's so much I don't even. That'd be amazing. I got to be careful about what I say and all.
That's
that,
okay. Can we show the trailer at the end of the show?
Oh yeah. But I think that's totally fine. Yeah. But as far as just I don't want to give any spoilers or details or anything, but I'll be kind of vague with this. But yeah, we had an audition that just I got, and it was a self tape. And at the time, actually, me and Derek were doing rewrites on Walking Supply with Douglas Nyback, another really talented dude. He was, we were kind of writing it together and doing a little bit of a rework on it. And I got an audition that weekend. I was like, oh man, and Doug's actually he was my acting coach for a long time at Armstrong. So I was like, hey, can you help me out with with this tape? Well, we were out at Derek's folks' house, and yeah, we used the ring light, a little flat backdrop on the wall, put the tape down, and then just forgot about it. Got back to writing. Mm-hmm. And I will say, when I read the character, I was like, this is freaking perfect for me. I was like, this is definitely a type of character that I could play. I won't go. There's no details yet about my character or anything, so I won't go into what it is. But it's like it definitely fit the bill. And then I ended up. So I forgot about it. A lot of yada yada yada. I think it was probably like a month later, or like 3 weeks later, or something like that. I was on a plane to go to Portland. We were doing an interview with this lady who she survived a weird cult growing up. And she just wanted to talk about it. She wrote a book about it, and it was a random gig. I was going off to Portland, Oregon to do this. And right when I was getting on the plane, I saw a message from my agent being like, hey, you got a call. You better come back, on Monday, because you got a call back at 3 p.m. on Monday. I remember I was like, what? So I got to go into the room with the directors, this 2-director team. They did their first 2 movies were Cooties and Bushwick. I don't know if you've seen those.
I saw Bushwick.
I know Bushwick, yeah.
I thought Bushwick was bad.
I have the opening for Cooties. I've seen the opening.
Yeah.
It was pretty great.
It was,
then once I saw the Cooties title, I went, okay. I don't know if I can watch the rest of this. I'm not sure. Yeah. But Bushwick was with Drax. What's that guy's name?
Oh, man. Dave Bautista. Yeah. And Bushwick was like, it was like a oneer. I don't know about a oneer, but the whole movie just flows with Dave Bautista as he goes about. It's pretty great, honestly. It's like the government is like locking a city down, and he's making his way, helping this girl get out of the city. That's really it. And you just follow him as he like kicks guys' asses and like hides and like runs away from the government and stuff. But it was pretty great. I like that movie a lot. I loved it, and I haven't seen Cooties yet, so I can't speak to that one. But I got to watch that. It's on my watch list. But Bushwick, I was so blown away by it. Yeah, that opening shot. It's like the first shot for people that haven't seen it. It starts in this subway and just follows this couple, and then they kind of go up, and then shit just starts hitting the fan. People are running by on fire. They're going up this, like, it's just a great wonder. All this crazy shit's happening, and essentially what's happening is there's like a divide going on in the country, where certain states are trying to separate. Very like eerily.
Some people want to wear face masks, and some people don't.
That's it. Yeah, I was as far as like being kind of on the pulse of the zeitgeist of what's going on right now. Mm-hmm. They're pretty good at that, because they've got this movie and then Cooties. I messaged them. I was like, hey guys, if criminals attack a beach house this summer, I think you guys are like literally psychic. So because there's a lot of shit, but that's a cool film to check. But yeah, so I go in the room for them. The casting director, it was Jenny. It was Sarah Kay and Jenny Lewis. Really lovely casting directors, and I just felt really comfortable. Like I felt like this, and they made me feel really comfortable too. And we had fun, and I did a little improv in the audition that cracked them up. Like they were like laughing behind the camera and everything. And then I felt really good about it. I didn't think I'd get doing a movie with Kevin James, Joel McHale, Amanda Brugel, freaking Robert Mallet. I don't know if you know, he's like amazing. He used to be a wrestler, really cool guy. Lulu Wilson, of course, who's like a rising, like she's killing it in the horror genre. She was in Haunting of Hill House there, dude. Yes. Oh yeah. Well, she was in that. She's in Picard recently. People have been messaging me being like, "Oh man, you're in the movie with the girl from Picard." That's awesome. Like, yeah, she's definitely a rising star, gonna do big things. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll audition, but they'll probably just give this to someone from LA or something. But no, I ended up getting the role. I freaked out with my agent, and then I ended up going off to set for my first day of fitting, and I look up at the the wardrobe area where they have all the photos of the main cast, and I'm like, I'm freaking up there with these people that I've watched and I've grown up watching and respecting, and I was
So
like,
cool.
I was like, oh man, it was so cool. It was such a good feeling and then to get there and just to be like, to feel comfortable because of all, that's the key thing, right? You got to keep doing it. And you got to keep grinding and like keep making stuff. And then once you're in that position, you feel ready, and I just felt ready. I was like, okay, I know what I'm doing here. I didn't feel like too out of place. And then everybody was, honestly, it was like one of the nicest sets I've ever been on. Like sometimes you hear horror stories about like, bigger sets. It's like cold or what. No, everybody was so nice, and and it really trickled down from the top, like the producers, directors, and everything. And yeah, it was definitely a cool experience.
All right, I'm gonna play this trailer here, and then we can talk about it for a second.
Awesome, yeah. So people know what's going on.
What we're talking about.
They know
That's
what
right.
who Kevin James is.
Yeah, Kevin. Paul Blart.
Yeah, Paul Blart, the funny guy, the guy that's really funny with Adam Sandler.
Here comes the boom, everyone.
Yeah, don't expect Paul Blart Mall Cop here. This is something different.
Oh, restricted trailer.
No, it's this one's, I think, PG.
What happened by your fort, Becky?
Search continues for 4 inmates who escaped federal custody this morning. Authorities say the men are armed and extremely dangerous.
Come on, boy, let's go swimming.
Oh, can you wait a second?
What is she doing here?
You let her walk all over you.
She's 13.
Jeff, this gentleman lost his dog.
Okay, well, why don't you give us your number?
My dog is a Rottweiler. Purebred, or as the Germans call them, Rottweiler Metzgerhund. That's why you never let them mate with other breeds. You get the worst of both.
Okay, I think it's time for you to go.
Stay calm. I'm looking for a key. It has this symbol engraved on it. You seen it? No. Well, that leaves little Becky. Where's Becky?
Wait!
He's gonna hold your dad still while I hurt him.
I'm not gonna let them get away with this.
Home Alone.
This was a little girl. Becky!
Stop running! She was very, very good. And when she was bad, she was horrible.
What was the point of all of this? For a key?
It's worth much more than that.
Becky! You're clearly a special girl!
I don't want to have to hurt you.
But I do want to hurt you real bad.
Whoa, that was that's Home Alone with white supremacists. It looks like, I think.
That is it. I mean,
yeah. With the producers, kind of, when I was talking to them about it on the first day, they kind of pitched it as like, it's like Home Alone meets John Wick, but I've also heard like Home Alone meets Rambo. It's kind of fun.
Totally, she does the thing. The bandana.
Macaulay Culkin's like,
I mean, come on.
wait, I could have stabbed a guy in the eye with a pencil.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I found out news today. They just posted an article on Collider, a bit essentially saying how this movie initially had an NC-17 rating. It was so fucked up.
Wow.
And they had to tone it back a bit. So It's not going to be for the faint of heart, but it's really like, it's just a fun, crazy summer film that I think most people will like. And I think if you can get past the how crazy it might get, it's definitely like, you're never going to see Kevin James. You've never seen Kevin James in a role like this before. He was killing it. And it's definitely cool to see him stretch, and to be there, like to be there watching it, like being a part of it when, he's doing such a different role, and it's,
now listen, was that beard real?
Yes, that was real. That's how you act. There's another way you can act with the beard for that first one.
That beard in that opening shot was so beautiful. Like,
now, I assume the swastika tattoo on the back of his head is real too.
Oh yes, yeah, of course.
He 100% got that on there.
Yeah,
It's on there forever now.
Went totally method. No, that was yeah, that interestingly
Kevin,
enough, that was
why did you do that? I don't know. It felt like it needed to be done. God damn it, Kevin.
Yeah, I think that was the awesome makeup team. You know, amazing, amazing peeps there. But I think like, yeah.
No, so let me ask you now. That experience was an extremely positive experience. It sounds like, and just like a step up in every way. It sounds amazing. Now, what's next for you, sir? What is on the horizon?
Good. Yeah, I mean, well, aside from right now I'm kind of living in all the, like, I'm just so excited every day I get to wake up, like, you know, as crazy as things are, this is nice. And I'm sure you guys feel this too, like having a project, having something kind of coming out, it like gives you a bit of hope, gives you a bit of, you know, just it gets you through the day. If I feel like I wake up every day and there's some really cool news, like I'm like, oh man, this is awesome. There's some really cool stuff coming down the pipeline. I'm really excited to see what they do if they do a Red Band trailer, because right now that they're really toning, you know, you don't necessarily see how crazy this might get, but you know, so I'm really just trying to live in that and appreciate it and like just get excited and be a part, like, you know, and share it with the world. And it's kind of cool. As much as the Tribeca premiere would have been amazing, obviously, and the red carpet and all that, I'm kind of excited to share this with, you know, you guys, to share this with like my friends and family, like the whole world, or at least North America, you know, will be able to kind of experience this on the same day if they want to, you know, on June 5th. I'm like, yeah, that's when it comes out, June 5th.
I hope it's huge, and I hope that you can finally buy that boat that you always wanted.
Yes, I hope so too. And to kind of answer your question as to what I'm up to now is I'm doing similar stuff as to, you know, I'm not gonna, I can't talk about it much, but I'm writing a TV series right now, and kind of the quarantine thing got me really thinking about this, and I've worked with this awesome writer-director recently, and we just clicked really well, and we are making a series that I'm really excited about. It's in the horror genre, horror comedy kind of thing, and it's and we've got it, the whole season 1 outlined, and we know where we want to go with season 2 and 3, and it's like that's kind of keeping me going. We've got it all out, and we're gonna start next week, start writing the screenplay and everything like that. And yeah, and I got that going on, and
that's so cool.
That's very exciting.
Make that happen.
Pardon?
Make that happen.
Make that happen.
I was just thinking, like, and I'm sure you guys feel this way, right now is a great time to kind of get your pitch material together, you know, and I feel a lot of people are saying this, but I'm really feeling it might be true for the industry. It's a bit of a shift, and it's more of a producer's market now, because there's just going to be so much of a demand for content, and it's not going to, you know, and people are just going to want new ideas. And I just feel like I'm excited to come out of this with, you know, walking supply ready to pitch, and we're going to start pitching it probably soon. And then the series, just to have this stuff in the pipeline, you know, and I recommend to any filmmakers, any actors, any, whatever you do, writers, whatever it is, you know, if right now it's, you know, if you're kind of sitting at home thinking about what to do, like just create something, you know, like just get something ready, film something in your house. Like, you know, it's you know, there's so much we can do right now, even though we're all stuck at home or whatnot.
Amazing.
You got to keep on doing stuff.
That's it.
Just keep on doing stuff.
Stuff you like, hopefully.
Yeah.
So everyone, listen. Everyone, here we go. Once again, go to thefableforest.com. You will see James's face up on the front page. Go and watch him in My Huntsville Muse with our friend Alana Pansier. And then we're going to post the trailer for Becky on our Facebook page. Make sure that you check it out on June 5th. We will, I don't know, June 5th exactly, but shortly after, I'm assuming. We'll try to get there and watch it. I'm very excited.
Looking for your face.
Yes.
We'll be looking for your face.
And I'll probably let the boys watch it. Even though they're not 17 yet.
All right, well, it's intense, but I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to recommend. I don't know what their levels are, but it's going to be, I think it'll be fun. Like there'll be a lot of teenagers and younger adults that enjoy it as well, you know, but it's a bit violent. So depending, you know.
Well, Lex loves Paul Blart Mall Cop, so
this
would be right up his alley. It's one of his favorites, honestly. This might actually ruin him. So
yeah, it could. It could.
We're out to destroy Lex.
All right. Listen, we're going to wrap up the show. Thanks very much, James, for being on with us and kind of running us through your history. And it's always been fun to work with you. And hopefully we get to do that again. Hopefully you'll give us like some sort of friendly discount on your King Kong bucks that you're going to be making the next time we chat, which is wonderful. You get to leave us with a final word there, James.
A final word?
A final word.
Just honestly, that's a lot this
is not final. It's not your last word ever. It's just...
this isn't the end. This isn't the end of you. Listen, we're leaving you with James saying, you just got to get out there and start creating stuff. Even if you're at home alone, you're an actor, you're a writer, just keep doing something during COVID. And don't let the fact that you never get to go outside stop you from trying to pull all your creativity and put it on the page or put it on the screen or what have you.
Exactly. Follow your dreams, and no matter what the world brings us, like just it's time to innovate. It's time to figure out, all right, new ways to do things. But there's no reason that you can't be out there still, following your dreams and doing what you love, because I think that's and just being good to people. This
is it, and this is what we say. Everyone, we'll see you again in a week. Actually, next week we're gonna meet Tom, VFX artist who we haven't worked with. We've just been chit-chatting with. We love his short film, so we're going to show you guys his short film, and we're going to bring him on the show, and you guys get to hear from a legit computer CGI VFX artist. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch his stuff and talk to him next week. But until then, dream big
and work hard. James, you're a legend, bro. A legend in the making.
Oh, you're too kind. So are you guys. Thank you.
Really hope you enjoyed the show.
Wherever you watched or listened, please leave us a comment or a review. We really want to hear from you.
Share the show with a friend. You know they'll love us.
Head over to our website, thefableforest.com. There's all kinds of great stuff.
Poke around. Check it out.
See you all again in a couple weeks.